So this is our table, select star from employees. Okay, fine, this is our table. Yeah. So the first question is write a query to group all departments. Okay, these are the departments and I want to group them. Okay, I want to group the department from over here. So what is the way to group a department? See, first we will write select. Yeah, select. Yeah, select. See, the order of execution of a query, it works like this. First, the from clause is executed, the from clause. We have to tell it from where you want to take that query, to take the data from employee table. So even though select is written first, the order of execution means the way in which SQL executes the query. It goes like, it will first go to from, it will not go to select first. Okay, it will go to from. It will first see which table we have to take. We have to take this table. Then it will come to the select clause. Select what? Star. Star means select all the columns, right? Okay, so I want a query to group all departments, right? So I will not write star, I just want department. So I will write DEPT, department. Select department from where? From the employee table, right? From the employee table. But I want, see, if I just execute this, only this much query, what will I get? I will get department and all the like all the values from the department table, all the values, they're repeated also. See, 2 mechanical, 2 electrical, chemical, here also chemical. But I want to group this table. I want to group this table. So now I will use here a group by clause. A group by clause. And I have to tell it that by what column I have to group it. I want to group this department column by department, right? It should group by department. Fine. Now if I execute this query, see, department, mechanical, electrical, civil, chemical, computer. The 3 mechanical entries, the 3 mechanical rows are now clubbed in one mechanical. Okay. So this is how you write a group by query. I told you, if you only write, see, I'm using a delimiter here. So only this much query will be executed now. Yeah, I will get department and everything in it, all the values, even the duplicates one. Okay, but if I group this, if I group it by department, now all the duplicate values are gone. This is how you use a group by clause. It is written after the from clause. Okay, fine. So next question will go, write a query to get the number of employees for each department. What is the meaning of number of employees for each department? See, for mechanical, we can see there are 1, 2, 3 employees. For electrical, there are 1, 2, 3 employees. For civil, there are 2. For chemical, there are 2. Computer, there is 1. But now, I want the number of employees in each department, right? So, by definition of group by clause, if we go over there in the group by clause, it says that it is used to group rows that have the same values in one or more columns. So simple definition of group by clause is it groups rows based on one or more columns. It group rows based on one or more column. Okay, so we will see what it actually means now. First over here, write a query to get number of employees from each department. So we know that we will need department and the number of employee count, right? So for that we will first write select. We know that we need department. Yes, we need department. Okay, select department. I'll first write the simple query from employee. Okay, and we have to like group by department, the same query which has been written up. Okay, group by department. Fine. If I execute, see, this query and this query is the same query. If I execute this, I will get department and I will get unique departments. 3 times mechanical is not repeated, I will get it only once. But now to get the number of employees from each department, right? The group by clause, it works on aggregate functions. If you can see here, typically in combination with aggregate functions. What are aggregate functions? We have seen the aggregate functions are functions like sum, average, max, min, even count. These are aggregate functions. The count function over here, it counts the number of rows that are there. Okay, the count function. So what we can write here? We can write here, see, this part, select department column. We want a column which will count the number of employees, right? So first I will write the count function, okay, and I will write here star. Star means select everything. So now this is a column, yeah, this is a column and this is also a column. Whatever is written after the select, those columns are selected. There will be a column named department and there will be a column named count star. But that count star column name, it doesn't have any meaning. So we can use an alias. Last lecture I have taught you what is an alias. As is an alias, right? A token name. As we can write here number of employees, right? Number of employees. Now this count star will be renamed as number of employees. So how many rows are we are selecting? We are selecting department and we are selecting number of employees. From where? From the employee table. And the whole thing is grouped by what? By department. It is making groups based on department. Now if I run this query, I am getting department mechanical. It has 3 employees. Electrical 3 employees, civil 2 employee, chemical 2 employee, and computer 1 employee. So by definition, a group by clause, it groups rows based on 1 or more columns. Fine, this is the first definition. Yeah. What is the second thing? Typically, it is written typically, not always. Typically means sometimes. Typically, aggregate functions are used on these groups. The group by clause, it groups rows based on 1 or more column. Okay, it groups rows based on 1 or more column, which means that this is our table. This is the whole table, right? This is the whole table. It has so many different employees. Mechanical has 3, right? So we need the count of it. So it will group it. It will only take mechanical 3 mechanical people into 1 mechanical. Okay, it will not repeat the whole duplicate rows completely. It will take it as 1 value. It is grouping it. This is 1 group. This is the second group. This is what grouping means. This grouping groups rows based on 1 column. 1 or more columns means it can group other column also. For the time being, we have only grouped 1 column. Which column is it? It's the department column, right? So that's why when we run this query, we get department and this is grouped. All the 3 mechanicals are grouped into 1, electrical into 1, right? This is also a way to get unique values from a column. It is also a way, but there is a difference between the distinct clause and the group by clause. On distinct clause, you cannot do aggregate operations, but on this clause, on the group by clause, you can do aggregate functions. See, the count function, if you go into the definition of aggregate functions, count is an aggregate function. Right, it is counting, which means it is aggregating, right? It is aggregating the number of rows. When we select all, it means number of rows for the department. When we say mechanical, it will check how many times mechanical are there. That is what this count is doing. So the second point over here, the second point over here is that in the select clause, in the select clause of a group by query, in a select clause of a group by query, the columns should be from the group by clause, should be from the group by clause or aggregated columns. Now what does this means? In a select clause of a group by query, the column should be from the group by clause or aggregated column. What does that mean? See, what is the first column that we have written? Department. This department in the select query, this department is grouped by, right? It is grouped by. Yes, it is grouped by. And the second one that we have selected, is it an aggregated column? Yes, it is an aggregated column. So into a select query, the columns that we select, these are the selected columns that we want to display, right? The selected columns that we want to display, these two columns are displayed, should either be from a group by column or an aggregate column. This is the meaning of it, right? Now let's say if I write here L name or F name, if I want to write here first name also, see, if I write here first name is coming, but is it making any sense? Mechanical 3 employees, what is the meaning of this name? Over here nothing. Electrical 3, what is the meaning of this name? This name will mean nothing, because this first name column, it is not in group by or it is not in the aggregated column. It is not even aggregated. So if a column is not aggregated or not in the group by, in the group by query, this is the whole group by query, it will not have any particular meaning. It is just random. Okay, so that's why this is one of the definition for the group by clause, that the select clause of a group by query, the columns that are selected, should be from group by clause or aggregated column. Okay, this is the meaning of it. So you can write this much as your definition for group by clause, that a group by clause, it groups rows based on one or more columns. Typically aggregate functions are used on these groups, but in the select clause of this group by query, the columns that are selected should be from group by clause or aggregate column. Remember this example, it is from the group by clause over here, or it should be an aggregated column like this. Okay, we move on to the next question. Is the definition clear to you people? Please someone reply. Hello? Okay, fine. We move on to the next examples then. Now, we know that how to get the number of employees from each department. Okay, now the next query is write a query to get the number of employees in each department. Okay, each department. When he says each department, it means that definitely we have to group the department column. Fine, number one. Second, it is saying based on gender also. Based on gender. Now, this is our whole table again. Mechanical, male, the gender is male. And over here mechanical, the gender is female. So now it will not only group by mechanical, it will also group by male and female. Because in department, how many unique columns are there? If you run this one, see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are total 5 unique values, right? And in the gender column, there are 2 unique, male and female. So if mechanical, it will check that if mechanical has a male, yes, it has, it will give 1. Mechanical has male, yes. Mechanical has female, this will be the second group. First will be mechanical male, second will be mechanical female. Same, civil male, and the second will be civil female. That's how you group more columns. So again, going back to definition, a group by clause, it groups rows based on one or more columns. Now you are clear about what is the meaning of more columns. You can group a particular table only by one column or by more columns. You can do that. Okay, I'm just clearing the definitions via examples. Okay, so what will we write here? The query that we will write is select, similar query as above. Okay, select select department, because yes, we need the department. Yeah, we need to count how many employees are there. Again, I can write here the count function. Yeah, the count function. And what do we want to count? We count all the rows. Star means everything, right? As number of employee, or say employee count. I'll write here emp count. Okay, fine. From where? From the employee table, right? Yes, from the employee table. Now we want to group by. But by what? Read the question properly. By each department based on gender. So group by will have two columns. What two columns? The first one will be department and the second one will be gender. Now if I run this, see, okay, fine, I haven't written here, see, department and gender also, right? So I haven't written gender here, but can I write here gender? Yes, I can write here gender. Why? Because it is in the group by clause. So that's why I can write here gender also. When I write here gender, now I will get gender also. See, department, mechanical, how many males are there? 2 males. Yeah. Chemical, how many female? 1. How many male? 1. Yeah. Similarly, for mechanical, how many male? 2 males. And mechanical, how many female? 1 female. Right? Similarly, like over here also, you can get the detailed male and female employee count based on their departments. Right? Okay. So the next query, we move on to next query. So now the definition is clear. What does the group by clause do? It groups rows based on one column or more columns. You can write one column in the group by clause or 2 columns or many more columns. And it is typically used with aggregate functions because that aggregate function is used on these groups. Right now, if you see, this is an aggregate function. Yeah, it is. This aggregate function is on the department clause. Okay, so next, write a query to group elements by department. So we know group, in the group by clause there will be department, fine, and then we have to calculate the average salary of department. So we now know there are 2 columns to be selected. What is the first column? We know it will be department, right? And second one, it will be average salary. So to get average salary, we use aggregate function, and that aggregate function is AVG, right? The average function. And what do you want to use average on? Salary column, right? So we will write salary. Salary. Yeah, fine, salary. Okay. Then what you will write after this? From which table? From the employee table. Okay, the employee table. And now we want to group by. Group by what? The department, right? If you run this query now, you will get departments which are already grouped, which means you will get mechanical, chemical, different, okay? And average salary of that particular group. See, if I run this query, I am getting mechanical, electrical, civil, and these are their average salaries. Average salary of everyone in mechanical divided by the number of employees that are there. These are the values that we get. Okay. So this column right here is named as AVG salary. This aggregate function is written in the column name. So if you want to do it, what do we do? I've told you. What do we do? We use alias as. We use token name as AVG underscore salary. I'll give it a name, AVG underscore salary. Now if I run this, this will change. See, average salary. The column name is changed. It is no longer the equation. This, you can say it like an equation, right? It is, you have given it a name now. Now the name will come because it is written in the select clause, right? So again, the same definition, that it is working on based on rows, based on one or more columns, and typically aggregate functions are used on these groups, right? mechanical, the group of 3 people, their average salary is calculated, right? So it is working, the aggregate function is working on a group, on the mechanical group, on the electrical group. So that is what this definition means. So when you are asked the definition, it should go like this. This is what you should say, simple and easy. Okay, fine. So next, we'll go to the next question. Show the maximum and minimum salary for each row. How will you write it? Maximum and minimum salary. Now we know that we only need salary or for each department. So we know, yeah, we will need department. Yes, fine. Maximum salary. So we know we have to use the max aggregate function on salary, right? Fine. And then we have to use the min aggregate function on what? Salary. Again, salary. We can also give this an alias, right? As max salary, as max sal, let's say. For minimum salary, we can also give the alias as minimum salary. Okay. Yeah. Now we will tell it from which table? From employee table. Okay. And group by. Now we will use group by. Group by what? The department. That is the query. So we have a column in the select query. We have the column which is in the group by clause. We have an aggregate function. We have another aggregate function. So the definition is followed for the group by clause. See, so the maximum salary in mechanical department is 18 and minimum is 12. Electrical maximum, electrical minimum, right? Computer, we only have one person, so the maximum and the minimum is the same. So that's how you use a group by clause. It can be used on a single column or like here on multiple columns also. Okay, fine. Now the group by, we have to group by department, gender. Okay, so yeah, fine, we understood. We have to group by department and gender. Okay, but include first name and salary. And will it make sense? What does that mean is, will it make sense? Like we have seen earlier. Fine. Include department and salary, and will it make sense? Okay, fine. Select department, fine. Salary, fine. What does it want? It wants first name and it wants gender. First name and salary. Sorry. It wants department, gender, and it wants salary. Right? Okay. From where? From employee table. Okay. And we have to group by what? By department and gender. You should know how to break down a question. See, group by department and gender. So we know we have to group by only department and gender, but we have to include the column first name and salary. So first name and salary are included in the select statement. We want to see these two columns. Okay, these will not go into the group by. So read the question and understand. Group by these two, but include these two also. And will it make sense? Now what does that mean? We will see. If I run this query, okay, fine, I'm getting an output. Okay, fine, I'm getting an output. Okay. So mechanical female Shweta, okay. Mechanical male Saurabh, fine. But these names, do they make any sense? These salaries, do these salaries make any sense? No, they don't. Why am I getting Utkarsha 8 lakh salary? Do I have any kind of definition for it? For example, mechanical male Saurabh, there is also another candidate named Adhiraj in mechanical, but Adhiraj is not showing, only Saurabh is showing. So why is this there? So these names which are not aggregated function nor they are grouped makes no sense. All these columns, they make no sense. Over here these makes no sense because this is neither aggregated nor in group by. Do you understand? This is neither aggregated nor in group by. You can write it. See, the query will give you an output, but only chemical female, chemical male, that will make sense because you have a chemical department, it will group by chemical, and there are two different genders, male and female. That's why this will only make sense. Over here it will mean nothing. It will pick anything randomly. Okay, so how to correct the above query? Correct query, it is not correcting the query. The correct way to write the query, it would be like, we can take everything over here. See, can a first name become aggregate? No, it can't, because the first name over here, it is what? What is it? The first name. It is a string. Can a string be said as max, min? No, it can't. So we can't write it over here. It is not right. It is not good to write it over here. But salary is an integer. Yes, it is an integer. Can we use maximum, minimum over all over here? Yes, we can. So can I write here max salary? Max of salary? Yes, we can write here max salary. Now these two columns are in the group by clause, and this one is an aggregated column. Now the query will make sense. Mechanical male, the maximum salary is 18. Mechanical female, the maximum salary is 14. Now it is making sense. Okay. So that is how you write a group by clause. Yeah. We move on to the next. Now we are almost near the end. Okay. For the above query, give the employee with salary higher than or equal to 12 lakh. So the same query, we want people who have salary higher than or equal to 12 lakhs. Higher than or equal to 12 lakhs. So how will we do that? Higher than or equal to and it using where clause. So fine, we just have to use where clause now. Okay, so I'll use where clause, where salary is greater than equal to, let's say, 12 lakhs. Okay, fine. Now can you see a X mark over here? This X mark is because it has already read the query and it is telling that your syntax is wrong. If I run this query, I will get an error over here. Error code, you have an error in your SQL syntax. This error is because of this where clause. I have told you the where clause, it goes to every column one by one. See, these are your columns, all the columns. Where clause will go one by one to every column, every row. Where clause will go to every row one by one. But when you are grouping it, okay, when you are grouping it, what will happen now? Does it have any rows for the where clause to go? No, right? So because you have grouped the rows here in this query, you have grouped the rows before the where clause will not have rows to go and perform operations, to go and search basically, because you have already grouped it, so it will not get individual rows. So that's why with a group by clause, the where clause fails. Also, the important part about where clause is you can't use where clause. Where clause before group by. You can't use it before group by clause. Okay, because the where clause is a row operation. Where clause is row operation. It goes to every row. It needs rows, right? It needs individual rows. It needs individual rows. But we are not getting it after group by. Once you group it together, you will not get individual rows for the where clause. Okay, but you can write it before. You can write it before, and now see, I don't have an X mark, right? If I run this query now, I'm getting the answer. The where clause is written before. Usually you don't use the where clause with group by clause. Are you getting it? Usually you don't use this where clause with the group by clause. this is what you get. You don't use it, you get an X mark over here. The where clause is written always before, but usually we don't use this, we don't write it like this. Okay, fine. So this is how this is the complete group by clause. These are all the variations that can be covered in the group by clause. Okay, so I'll again go through the definition of it. That a group by clause, it groups rows based on one or more column. Typically aggregate functions are used in group by clause. Select clause of a group by query. What does this mean, select clause? Whatever is in the select clause, it should be from the group by clause, or it should be an aggregated column like minimum, maximum, count, average. It should be that. Only that when you write in a group by clause, it will make sense. Either in the group by clause, which are over here, or an aggregated column. Okay, yeah. The next line is you can't use where clause before group by clause. Why? Because where clause is row operation, it needs individual row. Also, a very important part, where clause cannot handle aggregated columns. Tell me, in where clause, okay, you go to each and every row. When you aggregate a column, let's say average salary over here, it is now aggregated column, department and average salary. Is the where clause getting single individual rows? No, it is getting an aggregated row, right? It wants each and every separate 3 rows for mechanical. It is not getting here because it is already grouped by, right? So where clause does not work on a grouped row or an aggregated columns. Okay, on a grouped column or an aggregated column. Fine. So this is an important part that you need to remember.